How needed our emotions, they're all seated in our hearts, in our minds, in our souls. Love between the two of us, can it be compared? Friendship forever, we will always share. It was New Year's Day.
We were talking about this, you know, how that he had almost asked me a couple of times, but he just couldn't get the words out. And then I said, well, Art, someday, sometime, you'll know it's the right time, and then you'll just be able to say it.
No,
and then he goes,
boom.
will you marry me? And I just went, I didn't know what to say, because, like, you can think about it, you know, and you can dream about it, but then when it really happens, and you realize it's a pretty big decision to make.
Yeah, anyway, I was afraid she was going to say yes right off. And so I said,
You want some time to think about it?
yeah, you better think about it for a while. Because I wanted more time myself. All of a sudden, I realized the weight of what I had just asked.
So I said, okay, and he says, how about 2 weeks? I said, okay, sounds fine.
We'd been dating since August. We went
78?
No,
79.
79.
Our first date was miniature golfing, right? Okay.
I think it was our second date. We rescued a dog that had been hit by a car. In Art's old, beat up, what was that car?
It was Pontiac Bonneville.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was the passenger side, no, the driver's side didn't open from the inside. So you had to roll the window down, reach out and open from the outdoor latch to get out of the car. So it'd seen better days.
But
sure.
It was his car and we had a way of getting around. So on New Year's Day, we were playing ping pong in the basement of the house where he lived. And I had on this really nice, soft turquoise sweater. He says that's what made him ask the question. Anyways, yeah.
I don't remember the sweater.
Yeah, you always liked that sweater. So anyways, we were playing ping pong and all of a sudden he puts the paddle down and he says, will you marry me? Just, out of the blue. And then before I had time to say anything, he goes, you can have 3 weeks to think about it. Why did you say that? Do you remember?
Well, because I was stunned at these words that had just left my lips.
I think he was just, seeing stars. And so I said, oh, okay. And I don't remember. I have no recollection what we did after that. We pretty much knew, he dated some girls, I dated some guys, and he was 26, I was almost 24, which sounds so young now, but I think we pretty well knew that this is what we wanted. So, so we signed up for premarital counseling, set the date, and so I was planning a lot of stuff in London, and he'd come home on the weekends, and we'd go pick out invitations and flowers and stuff like that. So it went by very quickly.
In the midst of my darkest hour, came along to be my friend. On my soul you let your goodness shower. We'll stay together, it will never end. 'Cause your way is my way, and my way is your way.
I was born June the 12th, 1956, in Montreal, in a hospital there. And I was the second child of my parents. I had an older sister, Elizabeth, and after me shortly followed Kathy, and then shortly after her, Paul. And of course, when we were little, we fought like cats and dogs, but we had lots of fun too. We didn't watch TV much. We didn't really have one, so we spent a lot of time outside building tree forts and having crab apple fights and getting poison ivy.
Okay, one thing, I grew up with 3 brothers. That's 4 boys, and a real handful from my mom and dad. My dad was a school teacher at first, and then he changed his career totally and went back to university and became an accountant. I got along with my brothers well because I was the oldest. Mark and I used to have a few scraps, but I won. Except when he threw chairs at me and stuff. We had a lot of fun. I think a lot of the time we were probably best friends.
I have no idea when I first met Art. I remember him standing, leaning up against a wall. And he was tall, and I thought he was good looking, and I thought it'd be nice to go out with him, but he was otherwise...
You're a kid.
He was otherwise occupied at the time, so...
Really?
Well, it's true.
My parents weren't too thrilled at our getting engaged. We hadn't dated very long,
And your mom didn't like me.
well, yeah, so that's another story. But anyways, they grew to love him very quickly, and so we decided we were going to get married in June. We didn't want to have a big, long engagement. I was living in Toronto, and I was in London. So I finished up my year at Western. I was at going to Western. And then I moved to Toronto, and we got married in June, and got pregnant.
It was a rainy day. It was
rainy and thundering.
right in the middle of the ceremony. The biggest thunder struck, lightning, boom, and the church we were in had a center row of glass windows at the very peak. So when the lightning went, there was a flash.
And but
Sound.
we were there for the whole thing. There was no dance, but Art and his band played music, and we had a great time. And when we left to go on our honeymoon, the sun came out, so that was nice. I burned a hole in my wedding dress the day of my wedding. I got up in the morning, I was looking at my dress, and I thought I saw a crease in the skirt. So it was a very full skirt. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to press that, and I put a press cloth on top of it. And I took the iron, and I just put the iron down like this, and I went to lift it up, and the iron was stuck to the press cloth. And I screamed, and I just held the iron there, and my dad came along. Well, he says, what is it? I said, it's stuck, and he just lifted it. And so he lifted it up and took out an iron-shaped piece of my skirt. And I just freaked right out, of course. It was already raining. I hadn't been to the hairdressers. Anyways, my mom has a good friend who's a seamstress. Fortunately, it was right on the side. She was able to take out the seam, cut out the hole, sew it back together. It was a very full skirt. So all that was happening while I went to the hairdressers, and I hated my hair. She did it too tight, the curls. So I stood in the shower, and I stood in the bathroom when I got home, and I had the shower running to relax some of the curls. So it was not the morning that I had planned for my wedding day.
As we set our goals and work together, I'll get to know you more each day, yeah. Filled with your spirit, I'm as light as a feather. In heartfelt praise, I've just gotta say that your way is my way, and my way is your way.
Something I really appreciate about Art is the fact that he's very easygoing, and he accepts my moodiness. He's so understanding. Well, he is now. Yeah, we'll see in 5 years what happens. But no, that's something I really appreciate about him, and the fact that he likes to be different. He isn't materialistically minded, and he'd grow his beard down to his ankles if I let him. But he's not going to. But just that his values are his own. They're not other people's, you know.
I think one of the greatest things about Carolyn is that she is open to accepting my lifestyle. I really appreciate the way she accepts me for who I am. I think even what she has said reflects that.
Love between the two of us, can it be compared? Friendship forever, we will always share.
Well, she's a good-looking woman. She doesn't look 64. When I see other 64-year-olds, I go, I've done pretty good. She's very honest and very loyal. She's a hard worker. You know, she loves what she does. As far as teaching kids go, she loves it. And she does it to the very best of her ability. Like, she gives 100%. She's very faithful. And whatever she says she will do, she does. And even if other people are not as faithful as she is, or loyal, or committed, she still follows through. So I think that's part of her upbringing, but just part of who she is too. I love her hair, and I've always loved her mouth. She used to have an overbite, and I've always redheads with overbites is a weakness for me.
One thing I love about Art is that if I want to try something new and different, he's never ever said, whoa, no. You know, he's always been very, and I guess that's because of that adventurous spirit. You know, when I wanted to go back to university, when the kids were in school, when I wanted to do my master's, when I wanted to start a new hobby, when I wanted to get into acting, like, he was always do it. I think I've been very spoiled because I'm sure that there are other women whose husbands haven't been as positive when they've tried new ventures or wanted to try new ventures, but I know he's always got my back. I love that he loves people and that he's very easy to talk to, and he's a really good listener. So Art will get talking about music to me, and it's wonderful because, you know, I'm glad he does, but don't tell him this, although he might find out now, but he loses me, and but he's so excited about what he's talking about that I just let him go. That's the least I can do for him listening to me. So when he has his headphones on, because, you know, I go to bed early, and this has always been the way when he stayed up late at night, wherever we live, I'll be in bed, falling asleep, and I'll hear, but he doesn't realize his foot is keeping the beat, and I love it. It's always been a sound that just makes me smile and has comforted me. So, yeah, I love that about him. You know, he likes to have adventures and, you know, be spontaneous like me. So that could have been a huge problem in our marriage when I think of it, but God knew what he was doing when he put us together.
Love between the two of us, can it be compared? Friendship forever, we will always share.
I appreciate the fact that my parents were Christians, and they brought me up and, showed me the Christian lifestyle. Things weren't always smooth, you know. You have your hassles and your problems and that, but the fact that, you know, they were always there, and I could always go home to Mom and Dad.
The thing that I've appreciated most about my parents is maybe the support that they've given me, and even though they've not understood what I'm doing most of the time.
Oh, and Art's parents too. I really appreciate them and the way they've just made me feel like one of the family already.
both came from similar sets of families and family values, and that has helped a lot. That has helped a lot. Expectation that we would raise our family in a Christian environment, I guess that was huge. We love family gatherings and camping together and, just whenever we can. And that's one thing that as a married couple, I think we've talked about, that if people asked us for advice as married couples, it would be take your vacations together. Do not just live your life saying, well, someday we'll take a vacation. Do it when you're poor. We were poor. We had no money. We had a tent. We had 2 babies. We took our bikes. We rode our bikes. We
went all the way to the East Coast.
Yeah, we did. We took a tent, went all the way to the East Coast. We Tobermory, had the little seats on the back of our bikes to cart the kids around in the parks, and
it was fun.
It was great fun.
Your way is my way, and my way is your way.
Well, as long as Carolyn and I have been going out, it's been a growing relationship. Like, I just feel that the more I see her, the more I love her. It's not hard.
Art has this way of making me feel very special, and it's important to be made to feel that you're important to this other person, and that they need you, and they don't want to spend the rest of your life without you. And it makes me really happy to think that he feels that way about me, and I really love him for it.
People say to you, how do you know it's the right person? And I remember thinking that this is the guy I want to spend the rest of my life with. And I had never really felt that about other guys that I had dated. Well, my butterflies I call nose tingles. Art can still make my nose tingle. I'll just look at him and I'll get a feeling and my nose starts to tingle. It does. So it's like that feeling you almost get before you cry. No, seriously. So that still happens. So you don't have to lose the butterflies. You know what you do? You make your nostrils get bigger.
Oh, but
yeah, you
just,
do that
that's
when
just
he looks at me.
A little joke. That's just kind of.
Yeah, but it's very sweet, and I think you only ever do it to me, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I think Carolyn has sort of become my home, and because we've been through so much together, we've lived in all these different places, we've done all these things. If I'm away from Carolyn for more than a few days, I just go like, I'm away from my home. Like my home is, and I just want to get back home. So it's kind of cool that way, because I think both of us we've said that to each other, like, you're my home. It doesn't matter whether we live in Forest or London or Washington, D.C. or Maryland or anywhere. Like, my home is where she is.
Becoming one through redemption, God's only Son. In my life, in your life, in our lives we'll believe together.
And I think we're aiming to rest in Christ and the Bible and church and things that are permanent and definite promises that He has given us. Because the world will fall away. And I think we're seeing that even now.
God is a natural part of life. And so to make sure that as we talk, that God becomes part of our everyday conversations. And when there's a need or a worry, we stop and pray right then. That it's a natural thing. It's not a Sunday thing. It's not a dinner or a bedtime. It's a conversation. And to think, I don't think I did this a lot, but asking your kids what they think about something. What do you think about that? Or how are you feeling about this? Or what's on your mind? What are you worried about?
I know I'll sometimes have problems that you'll be there to help me through. In quiet times, I like to sit back and ease my mind and tell you, Lord, how I love you.
I'm really expecting great things, and I know marriage will be great. I know too that there'll be problems that we have to overcome, but I know that we both love the Lord and we both want His will for us, and His strength is there.
You know, when you're young, you think about, oh yeah, well, you know, we're going to have our issues, and, you know, we have kids, you know, raising the kids, and, you know, you just think in generalities, more or less, and until you start living married life, you don't know what the specifics are going to be.
When you're young, you think it's so magical and it's so surreal, and it's like no one else has felt like I felt like about a woman in my life. In the history of mankind, no one has had this kind of love, you know, or there's no one's, and you feel like you're at the apex of a mountain, or, you know, you're seeing the world in a new light. Other things that come in that surprise,
like illness, sickness, loss of job, loss of income. I didn't go into marriage thinking it was going to be, I guess I thought it would be an adventure, and it's definitely been an adventure.
If I was to go back today and remember what I thought about what married life would be when I was 25 or 26, it would be different, quite different, but it's still good. It's still very good. Still great.
The fact that we were always interested in what the other person was interested in. That is a gift from God. Music. I love music. I love dancing. I think I could have been a great piano player if I'd ever had lessons. So I've always loved music and eclectic taste. And, you know, that's a gift from God, really.
And your way is our way, and our way is your way.
I think it'll be really neat a few years from now to be able to look back at this and see what we've said and see what we've done since then, you know, to see if we've fulfilled any of the things that we've said we want to see done in our lives, in our marriage. But then again, not to be disappointed if things change from what we've said, to know that if we really are seeking God's will, He could lead us in different directions than we think we're going now.
Goals for the two of us, as far as myself goes for the two of us, obviously we want to stay healthy. I would like to stay engaged. You know, we've talked for years about taking up ballroom dancing or something like that. Part of with marriage is we are supposed to stretch one another. So when Carolyn has a goal that doesn't line up with mine or vice versa, then part of that is just sort of talking about it and determining, okay, if this really is a goal for both of us, how do we both buy into it?
My personal relationship goal with Art is that we do become better and better for as long as we have together. And we laugh more, you know. We need to make sure that we don't lose our sense of humor. We want to make sure we can still laugh and, you know.
If you look at this other person is going to be the be all and the end all, and this is what I'm accomplishing, then you're going to be sort of limited. But if you look at it as we're going through an adventure together, and there are different roads we can take, and there are different challenges we will have, and how we look at these challenges can make or break, a marriage.
Yeah, you know, you just kind of, it's like waves on an ocean. You know, sometimes we're in sync and it's all nice and gentle ripples, and other times it's like crashing waves on the ocean. That's the analogy that comes to mind.
The search forever ended. Our request is that together.
I'm glad it was you, and we had a heck of a ride. It was a great ride.
You are my home. I think that says it all. And other than we fulfilled our vows for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. And all we have left is till death do us part, but that'll only be momentarily till we're together in heaven with all our loved ones forevermore. I love you.
The search forever ended. Our request is that together we will live our lives, and that life in Christ will grow. It will grow.
Is that it? Okay, we're done.
Bye-bye.